Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Broken Sword.
Hello, guys.
We are live, and I'm back from sunny Sardinia to rainy Wales. So
Yes.
you have two of us. Today, we are, of course, as you can tell by the title of the video, talking about lore changes in the Rings of Power.
Yes, all of them. Wow, most of them.
Most of them.
Most of them.
Are they necessary? That's kind of what we want to get to today. If we think these many lore changes, if they are really required for the story that they are telling. We're of course going to discuss this with you guys live. We're going to dive into the comments as well and have so you guys can have your say.
Yep.
And we'll try and I guess get to a summary together.
Yes.
How's everybody doing?
It's good. Yeah, we'll give it our usual 5 minutes just for people to join us.
Yes.
Enter the stream, and then we'll get on stuff.
Fantasy Sci-Fi says welcome back. Thank you very much. It's good to be back, although not with the weather. So obviously, as you guys know, there are lots and lots of changes to the lore that do need to be addressed. Some of them may be acceptable, even if not necessary. Some of them may be necessary, but not acceptable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's really a fair way to put it.
How did you find the last episode, Jake? Well, ups and downs. There were some things I liked. I'm still enjoying Durin and Elrond's relationship. There, of course, were some things I did not like again, Galadriel. There's still no improvements on Galadriel for me. And there is, of course, the big lore change, which we will get to in this stream at some point. So I'm not going to give too much away.
Do you think there was no improvement to Galadriel? Like none at all?
No, she just annoys me. I don't like anything about her character.
Yeah, I think a great way to test it as well is because sometimes I feel like we can get a bit biased in it's not Tolkien's Galadriel, so we find her different. But you got to when people who don't know anything about the lore say she's an annoying character, and you're like, well, she's obviously not made to be annoying. They obviously haven't written her to be an annoying character. So the earthquake going on in here. Apologies if you can hear that, or you can see shaking probably as well. Yeah.
Great timing on people wanting to wrestle outside our office.
Yes. We are working on a fix for this. It's not a long-term thing. It's just not an immediate solution either.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Comment here. It's probably going to be hard to judge some of the changes until more of the series is out. That's something that's worth addressing. That is definitely true. Obviously, certain things might have a payoff later down the line where we go, oh, okay, they didn't actually change it. They were just maybe a character was lying, or I don't know.
Yeah, we'll kind of touch on that a bit more later when it's kind of works in with the lore changes. Rather than spoil the video already.
Hope you tear them a new one. Who? Amazon? We'll be honest, that's for sure.
Yes.
What's good, JP Rocha? How's it going? Okay, should we delve into some lore changes then?
Yeah, why not? Let's start with something.
Harfoots in the Second Age, I think, is a good place to start.
Yes. I mean, this was a big one for people pre-show release, before episode 1. The second they saw Harfoots, hobbits, people were not happy.
No, they weren't. I mean, the reason people were unhappy is because it's very clear in Tolkien's writings that hobbits don't have a history that's recorded before the Third Age.
No, it's about it's something, I can't remember the exact year, but I think it's 1,000 years into the Third Age is their first recorded histories. But they did exist before that. That's one thing that I can accept, is that they would have been around. They didn't first pop up for the first time in their existence in the Third Age. But because we don't have any definite writings and histories of their first appearances, even where they came from, we don't really know where their existence comes from. Like, obviously, they said they're an offshoot of men.
Yeah.
But they're given pointy ears, which makes you feel like they're more like an offshoot of an elf, because men don't have pointy ears, and it's a weird thing for them to develop if they are an offshoot of men. It is a bit of a weird one. But I'm actually not completely against their involvement, and I'm not even 100% sure this is a lore change. It's one of their more, I can't think of the word, their lore stretches.
Yeah,
if you get what I mean.
I realistically, look, nothing was written by Tolkien about this is the day that the creatures we know as hobbits came into being. It
Yeah.
just says they did nothing of great importance before when we know of them. So
Yes.
as long as the Harfoots don't change the world in this series, I'll be okay
Yeah.
with it. That's all I've
But
got to say about that.
I will say though, is that potentially they can have them have a big involvement, annoyingly, and this may affect a lot of these law changes, because it was basically, I can't think exactly where it was written, but it was written that most of the Second Age, like, it just wasn't written down in an essence. The elves wrote a bit, but not in great detail, and a lot of what men did wasn't really written down at all. So a lot of it was just forgotten.
Yeah.
So, annoyingly, it
It
almost gives them license to
Yeah.
make a big thing happen with them and just be like, oh, but this big thing happened, but these people just don't remember that actually wrote things down.
Yeah.
It didn't affect them, so they didn't know about it. But
Yeah.
it did do a big thing that they just didn't know.
It just wasn't recorded.
Which I'm not a fan of, really, them doing that. I'm like I said, I'm happy for them to be involved. Like in the last scene, I absolutely loved Poppy's song and that part
that
of
was
it.
nice.
For me, that was like, that should have been an episode 1 thing. That should have been how we got introduced to them as a people. As wanderers, they like a song, they're happy families. Like that kind of idea, I think sets them up well. Not really an episode 5 thing as such.
No.
But yeah, it's a weird, I just can't, yeah.
Michelle T says, for being hobbits, they're pretty awful to one another. You're absolutely right. I think that's something I really, really dislike about them in the show is they're very much just like, well,
poorly written.
Who said that? Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, oh, let's just leave people behind because they
but they don't leave people behind because they made a chant about not leaving people behind.
Yeah, true.
But then they do. And then they're like, we don't leave them behind, but, take their wheels.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? It just makes no sense. I don't get how you can get people who are supposed to be so close and family and they migrate together and do all this. And then it's like, well, actually, no. Just take their wheels off them and let them die.
Yeah.
It just, they need to go one way or the other, not this middle ground.
It's sad to say, but every time they come on screen, I almost switch off a little. I just don't care for them. They're not.
No,
I don't know. They're not right. There's something not right about them, and I think that comment there, Michelle, is definitely a part of that.
Yes.
They're not nice. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird. Yeah, as James said, it's not necessarily a law change. This one, more of a taking creative license from lack of information, more than a change.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have got anything more to say about that, we'll definitely discuss. But should we perhaps move on?
Yeah. We can come back and address things at the end as well. So if you've got things you want to ask or say about the Harfoots, we can come back to comments later.
For now, then, let's talk about the human-elf relationship. Now, this is a big one. Big one for me, at least.
Okay. I'll let you start then, if you wish.
Well, we know that there's a history of this happening within Middle-earth.
Well, 3.
Yes. But that's the whole thing, right? We know that it's not to say that it can't happen, but we know it can't be a successful story of love, if that makes sense.
Yes, there's only really it's kind of made a big deal of it. There's these 3 examples of these relationships attempted. Obviously, Beren and Luthien. You got Tuor and Idril, and then Aragorn and Arwen. Like, they're a big deal in the histories.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even in this, they might not have written it down thing, it's nah.
Yeah,
nah.
it's tough.
And also, I don't think it helps that in the show itself, I can't really say I dislike Bronwyn, but I literally just have no connection to her.
I agree.
Yeah, so I won't go as far as saying I hate her, but I literally just have no feelings.
I just don't care.
Yeah, I just don't care about her, which is almost worse.
However, Arondir I really like.
Yes.
But it's almost a bit like, why does he care so much for Bronwyn? I don't.
Yeah, they haven't set it up really to show anything apart from he visits the village and goes, you know what? She looks hot.
Yeah.
That's it.
And to be honest, I think that's a problem with the majority of the show is such a lack of setup with a lot of things that have happened and are happening that we don't care about them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you guys would agree with that. I know a lot of people are saying that the show is slow because they are spending too much time building things up. But I also feel like there's a lack of build-up for other things.
Yeah, the build-up part is I can really get on board with. I mean, if you break down the Fellowship of the Ring movie, it takes them like half the movie, which for the extended cuts is like over 2 hours, to really set off on, like, well, maybe not as much as 2 hours. I can't think of the exact times, but it takes them a long time to get out of the Shire and really get anywhere with the ring, which is the whole purpose of the story in a way, is to go and destroy the ring on this adventure. So I can accept a lot of build up. The thing is, none of that build up feels unnecessary and boring, whereas stuff in this show has. So yeah, it's just not being done in the same way.
Yeah. Jacob says, the show. Oh, that's not what I clicked on. If Theo is Arondir's son and Theo becomes a Nazgul, then at least it would be in keeping with elf-human romance ended in tragedy. He's definitely not Arondir's son, though, right?
No, definitely not. I don't know.
Arondir's an elf.
Yeah, there's no hint at all that would actually be the case. And yeah, like I said, even half elf, I don't believe would become a Nazgul in that way. So
PJ Light says the show has zero emotion, and I think that goes back to what we were just saying about not setting things up. Like they try very hard to show emotion, like when Arondir is saving Theo, and Bronwyn arrives on the scene. It's all slow motion, and the music is epic and dramatic. But I'm just like, I genuinely don't care if any of them get shot with an arrow, because there's no build up.
Yeah,
and that equals no emotion.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted them to get shot with an arrow, not even for dramatic tension, just out of my satisfaction. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but still, someone's got to take an arrow to the knee.
Yeah. Ryan Dixon says Theo becoming a Nazgul as well, like he's a kid. It just seems off to me. Well, that's not confirmed yet. And as of episode 5, he's kind of handed over that sword, so it's looking less likely that he will become a Nazgul. But he might. And don't forget, the Second Age is over thousands of years. So we have a long time to explore the possibilities of him growing up and becoming one.
Yeah. I actually saw to try, kind of go on a side quest story, whatever. Quickly is I can't remember the name of the actor, but the one who plays Theo, he shared this meme of himself. You know the bit when the old guy from the Southlands, the evil one who bows, like reaches out to him, and it's like him dressed as the Emperor. It's just showing it, and yeah, it's one of those moments. It's like it just feels like it's a memeable moment, not a serious one. When he's like, "Come with me, it's our time." It's just
it's just again, it goes back to lazy writing,
which is also frustrating as well, because I don't feel like any of the actors are bad either. There's one or two that maybe are more suspect than others. But generally, I don't feel like they are bad actors. They are just given really bad material, and it just makes them look
I think
worse.
most of the cast is good. There's a really interesting point here from Brett. Halfway through the series, and you really expect the payoff to these stories. Answers will be given in time, I bet. Everyone wants things now. I agree. And when we first started with this show and our reviews and our ups and downs, we were talking very much about our cons of the show, but addressing the fact that they could change these things in the future with payoffs. The problem is, the further we're getting into this show, the less confidence I have that that's what's happening. I'm starting to suspect that it is just poor writing. Don't get me wrong. I really hope that they're throwing us loads of red herrings and trying to send us off the wrong track, and they're actually going to do these big twists that none of us see coming, and we're all like, wow, that was really good writing. But it may also not be the case, which would be sad.
Yeah. It's there should be some kind of payoff or close to payoff at this point already. It's definitely, we're too far in now to be feeling like it's been said so many times. Really, we are at a point where we should have been realistically after the first 2 episodes. And the way they released them as well in the show, it would probably work. But I mean, even this last episode, it took them the whole episode to even leave Numenor.
Yeah.
Like, I was hoping they would have, the episode ended with landed in Middle Earth kind of thing. Like, maybe something happened at sea, which is a tension moment, that point of the story, which they have to get past.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
Nothing happened. What did we get? We got Galadriel training with a bunch of wannabe soldiers with live blades, and if any of them kill her, they get promoted. Is that what the stakes were?
No, it was just to basically cut her, mark her, any kind of scratch.
But I hate scenes like this. Like, look at the way they're swinging these blades at each other. If one of them's not blocked, someone's losing a head.
Yeah.
It's just silly. And the choreography was okay. It wasn't as bad as the jail sequence.
No, as I said in the live stream last week, I found when it was just one of them, I didn't think it was too bad. When it got 2, it got iffy. When it got more than 2, it was just pure fantasy, like not good fantasy type stuff going on. But yeah.
Nate says, why does Galadriel get the most cringe scenes? Like, I can't. There's no answer to that. It's just sometimes it's genuinely hard to watch. You go back to the slow motion horse riding sequence. That was horrific, horrific and pointless. This stuff of her fighting these wannabe soldiers from Numenor, pointless, completely pointless. What are we doing? Trying to prove that Galadriel's a badass. We already know that from episode 1, and we don't need that. There is no benefit to that sequence.
I know. My guess, like, even the bit of the was it the point? No, stab, twist. Yeah. And just like, yes.
There are many ways to kill an orc.
Oh, shut up. I will show you the simple one. Stab. It was one of those. It's like, well, what other things are people going to go for first? Like, if you're going to show some like, oh, they've got, I don't know what an orc, like a weakness is the back of their neck for some reason. I don't know. Like that's like a useful piece of information.
Yeah.
Not stab them like you would stab anything.
Yes, stab them. That's how you kill them.
Yeah, like
really?
A generic piece of advice is not a good piece of advice. It's just generic. Whereas if it was specific to an orc, then it would make more sense.
Couldn't agree with this more. I think making Galadriel the main character was a misstep. 100% agree. She should not be the main character of this show. Even if they wanted a strong female lead, make it a new character, because this is not Galadriel.
Who would you pick if as the show as it is now? So we're not going to rewrite everything. Just saying, as the show as is now, who do you wish they'd actually put as the main character? I'm curious if you'd say the same.
Ooh, tough. I think you could probably do more. Like, it's you saying as the show as it is now. I would say Isildur could be made very interesting, but as it is now, not bothered. Elendil could be technically more interesting because he has a great destiny. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Elendil.
Fair.
Maybe Elrond could be cool.
That's my answer. Yeah, I would have gone Elrond because I feel like he almost has the most reason if they're going to change the history type thing. If they're going to put them in places which they maybe shouldn't have been, I think Elrond almost makes more sense. Maybe it would have made more sense for him to go to Numenor because of the Alros link, as opposed to Galadriel looking for soldiers. I just think there's a few ways they could have done it, and also I'm a very big fan of Elrond. He's one of the highlights of the series for me, and it's almost one of the things that I almost feel sad that he is in this series, not in something else, because of how good he has been.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just make the show about Durin and Elrond. Yes, that I would. Oh, I'm watching this. I'd watch that and I'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then from human-elf relationships.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about Valinor.
Oh, you mean the place you can just book a ticket and go and visit now, like a theme park?
The computer stopped working. Classic. Okay, no more pictures.
Okay, you talk for a minute.
So, Valinor. Obviously, the biggest problems with Valinor in this show are, A, we have the fact that Gil-galad can just send people to Valinor now. That's just a thing. Like, Galadriel, great job on creating peace that you don't believe that you created. You can go to Valinor. And, she almost does. Now, that pretty much negates the whole ban of the Valar.
There we go.
There we go.
Got there in the end.
I mean, look at that. I gotta be fair. Imagery, cinematography, it's second to none, really. Let's be honest.
I mean, to be fair, when I realized that they were going to send her to Valinor, I was straight in my mind went, how are they going to show this? Like, what are we going to see that is that moment? Because that you're basically, in want of a better word, you go into heaven at this point. Like, how are they going to represent that? And I think they did a great job in it, really. Makes it very confusing if Numenorian ships are going to somehow try and sail and land there later. Don't really get how that works. But it did look great.
It did. I've seen some things about it. What? I just lost 17 minutes. You were live. I didn't get an alert. You're here now,
that's
Nathan.
Why on that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you will not be late, and you will get alerts.
Valinor has a fantastic theme, and yes, it's visually beautiful. I don't have what's the word? A musical score, a soundtrack, a song from this show that I dislike, if I'm honest.
No, to be fair, it's one of the things that I think has kept a lot of people on board
Hi, Brandon.
is the soundtrack with Bear's work. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and I think sometimes that just keeps people involved, like invested in a scene that maybe isn't great because the music is doing so much of the work. It's doing so much more heavy lifting than it should. It should like enhance what's already there, not be the thing that makes the scene in a way. Like I know that you get some epic scene, like you get epic tracks and stuff, but everything on screen should still work without it. Where I don't feel like it would. If you took all the music out of this show, imagine that as an experience.
Yeah. Even the scene from episode 5 where the Numenorians are finally leaving, it was the score that made that.
Yeah.
And I turned to my partner who I was watching it with and was just like, wow. Like, the music is just spot on. Hello, I don't overthink things. Great series. People cling to things too much and expect almost perfection. I would agree with that to a point. People were expecting so much of this show, and anything less than perfect is just not good enough. However, and it's hard to say this because I was one of the people from the start that was like, I can let certain things go to appreciate a good show. The problem is, there's been a lot of lazy writing. It's not just to do with the law changes. I can let go of some of the law changes. Like we always say, it's not easy to make a direct copy of page to screen. Like literature and film are very two different mediums. So I can let go of certain changes, but I can't forgive poor writing, lazy writing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Music is the single best consistently great thing. 100% agree. I also agree with this. A good soundtrack does not make a good show or film. Star Wars 7, 8, and 9 as an example. Yeah, I 100% agree. Great soundtrack, not good movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh boy. Is there anything else to address with Valinor?
To be honest, while I was trying to judge the picture, I'm not even sure what you said.
I was talking about Gil-galad being able to send Galadriel.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those instances which you may have touched on, just saying that, like, whether there's going to be a reason for it, whether I don't even know if it would work at all, but if they didn't really go to Valinor, that this is some Anatar in the background trick. He's kind of no, but it wouldn't work because Gil-galad is the one who sent him away. He wouldn't let him in his lands because he could sense it. So no, I talked myself out of it already. I can't even argue a point that I don't believe in enough to do it. So nope, done.
Is the garbage show necessary? I mean, yeah. I'm look. Despite my thoughts on this show, whether I love it or hate it, for the most part, I'm disliking the majority of it. There's certainly things I'm really enjoying. At the end of the day, I am just happy to have new content based upon Middle Earth that I get to watch and do this stuff with, get to criticize or celebrate. That's the fun bit. I'm disappointed, of course, that it's not what I wanted, but I'd still rather have this than have nothing. It's not changing the books. It's not replacing the books. It's not replacing Peter Jackson's adaptation. It's just extra.
Yeah. The way I kind of think of it is, at the end of the day, if people who have never read any Tolkien, never had any interest in looking at Tolkien, watch this show, and maybe it sparks a slight interest in them, and then they go and learn everything else. They come to channels like ours and learn about the lore, they join in the discussions, and then they grow into what Tolkien really is. That can still be a win. Like, obviously, it'd be great if the show was great, but you can still get some good out of it, even if it doesn't work in itself.
Not a fan of how they're making Gil-galad seem like a slimy politician. Yeah, same here.
Nope.
And I really like the actor as well, which is even more disappointing.
I know he was one of the ones when they just released the photos of the cast. I was like, yes, it looks like they've nailed him.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, let's move on again then from Valinor and talk about King and Prince Durin. Now, some of you may be thinking, why is this potentially controversial? Well, the reason for that being controversial is the whole point of Durin is there's the line of Durin. We have a video on it. Go and check it out. Shameless plug. Durin is supposed to be a character that's essentially reincarnated into someone else, right? Or at least that's the legend.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you guys will understand this. Reincarnation can't happen when two people are still alive at the same time, right?
Yep.
You have to die and be reincarnated into someone new. So how is there two Durins? Are they just different?
I mean, they tried to explain it in the episode. King Durin, basically, I can't think of the exact word he uses, but he talks about basically is when the crown passes, then it's like all your ancestors go into you type thing. So they almost make it try to sound like it's the crown that makes you reincarnate, not the person, which is just not how it works at all. And it almost feels like it just feels off the way they've done it.
It does. And the ridiculous thing is, I actually like both of them. I think Durin, Prince Durin is probably the best character in the show, or probably the best casting in the show, at least. I saw a comment there that agreed with that. And King Durin it's a different style of dwarf when compared to Prince Durin, but I also very much like him.
Yeah, I've said it in previous streams before that King Durin is what I imagine the dwarf in the book would really be like. I feel like he is an accurate representation of what Tolkien, or more accurate to what Tolkien probably would have wanted a dwarf to appear like. Like less jokey, more serious, more skeptical, just that kind of feeling. Prince Durin is more Peter Jackson type dwarf, but I still love it. He just didn't need to be Durin. He could have been Prince Gimloin.
Gimloin.
I don't know. But there was no reason for him to be a Durin apart from going, oh, look at that, we got a Durin, but you've already got one, so I just don't get it.
Or he could have been Durin and his father could have been someone else.
Yeah, it works both ways. It's just, like he could have been, it might have been a nice story arc to go for. His father was someone else, he was born as Durin, and he's having to deal with the pressure of being the next reincarnation of Durin. Because imagine the pressure of that, it would be insane. Like you're supposed to live up to these, well, basically the people who founded your race, they're the icons of what dwarves are. Like, it would be hard, and it could be a more interesting way to go with it.
Yeah. I'm just going to jump into a couple of comments. We've been neglecting you guys. Patty says, hi guys, how late am I? How are you doing today? We're doing good, and you are 27 minutes late, but there's plenty more to talk about, so do stick around. Carlos says, hey guys, love your channel. Thank you for your videos. Thank you very much. Regarding the show, we got to face it, it's not been great. Truly, it kind of sucks. It's incompetent. It's not been great. That sigh says it all.
I really try not to be negative. I really do, and it's just
hard not to.
It's just a big sigh.
When I watch the show, I feel like even the actors are about to stop and say, "This isn't right, is it?"
It was really frustrating as well. You see, like interviews with the actors and stuff, and like especially Lloyd Owen, who plays Elendil, like he'll rattle off some obscure bit of lore that he obviously knows so well. We know Robert, who plays Elrond, is also supposed to be really into the lore and stuff. And you look at some of them and go, did you try and turn around and go, just wait, what are we doing here? Like, this doesn't make sense. Or is it just a case of they're great fans, but at the end of the day, it's a paycheck and they're never going to question anything?
That's what I'm worried about.
More likely.
And we know that the showrunners that were hired for this, I forgot my name.
JB Payne and the other one?
They before this show hadn't really done a great deal, right?
No, they'd done Star Trek. I think was like their big thing, like written some of it. But there's a lot of people who do not necessarily approve of those films anyway. And that was supposed to be their big, we did this one. And a little couple of other things I can't really remember.
So the questions around their hiring were around from the start. And it was suggested that they were perhaps hired because they weren't super big names with loads of experience under their belt. So if Amazon said, do this, they won't go, whoa, no. They'll just go, yes, sir. And that is a worry for me.
Yeah, like I'm sure we discussed this on a stream probably a year or two ago now, when it was still all in the unknown, was that we were hoping that they were hired because they did have a great knowledge of the lore, and they showed that they could write, but because they had that background knowledge, it was an asset to have them having both. And not be the yes men thing, but it very much feels like it's gone completely towards they just hired some yes men.
Yeah. Shame. Oh, there you go. An uncredited Star Trek writer. That says a lot. I am mortified for Morford. Yeah. What's the shit? It's a shame. I really like her. I really like her as an actress, but what they've given her is not good.
No, I feel like you could have put anyone in that role with those lines. Like Kate Blanchett could have done this exact same thing, and it would still be a joke.
Yeah,
like
that's the problem.
Yeah. And so long as that, it's one of those things. Like, I get it's bad, but so long as none of that stuff goes over to the actors as such, like they're just given a role that they're given. I get that, It's the people behind it, the producers, the writers, the ones who are really in charge, who deserve all the flack.
Yeah, I agree. Caesar is awesome, needs more beard. I agree with both. I don't see any good justifications so far for any actual changes to the law. Example, there's no reason why Durin's father needs to be Durin the Third. Yeah, I agree. There is no benefit to the story through that. Literally none.
Nope.
Not even. Yeah, no, literally nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Their chemistry would be the same if he was just father of a different name. Like, it just.
It's not like a Durin has to have a Durin as a son. It's just, no. There's nothing that sets up the necessary.
It almost feels like they've misunderstood something, the writers, which I find mad because I know there was the controversy over Tom Shippey and his involvement, but even without Tom Shippey, they had lots of Tolkien experts and scholars involved that know this stuff.
I wish we could know the real truth about Tom Shippey, because there was a big thing that came out. Obviously, he got fired because he was trying to say stuff was wrong and they weren't willing to change it. But also, the other statesmen say he was giving interviews, he was basically revealing stuff which he had signed NDAs to not do. And at that point, if that is the truth, then it doesn't matter who you are. If you break an NDA contract, then they got no choice but to let you go. But nobody's confirmed anything either way. So we're all just left at this point. And then you got the people who are saying they fired him, the people who really just want to hate on the show, no matter what happens. They'll stick with Tom Shippey was fired because he tried to make a good show. Whereas the people on the other side will try and say the opposite. And
if you think about it, it's silly. Of course, Amazon wanted it to be a good show.
Yeah,
like, they're not going to fire someone.
The amount, it's too far. The amount of money they've paid. There's no way they could hope for a bad show. No. Like, it just makes no sense to as a business. I don't understand it. But there's a lot of things about Amazon that you can never really understand.
Yeah. Ranger of the North, what's up, my friend? Okay, we've had a super chat from Demonic Horseman Gaming. Thank you very much. Is anyone else kind of concerned about how Isildur is depicted? He should be a large, imposing figure. Even at this age, he should strike fear. I definitely get what you're saying. I'm not sure he should strike fear at this point. He's still very, very young. The bigger question is if he should even be around at this point. Because the timeline is, well, we don't even know what the timeline's saying. It's kind of all over the shop right now. I'm not hating his character. All I'm saying is there's clearly a lot of room for development.
Yeah, I feel like I understand that. I feel like he should be a bit bigger, but it's the same way Elendil should be a bit bigger. Like, what's his recorded height? Like 7'10" or something.
I think
same as Galadriel should be 6 foot. It's all just like.
This is a good segue, I think, to talk about the next issue, which is time compression. We have a picture for this.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Funnily enough.
Look at that.
It's like I was prepared. Yes. Yeah, I feel like, oh my God, I'm mind blanking on the name. Isildur's friend, his best friend, the one who becomes...
Randil?
Yes. I feel like his physicalness is what Isildur should be more like. I'm not saying it doesn't make or break the character at this point, that part of it. It's just one of the little bits, again, that when, like, you can forgive a little mistake here, a little mistake there, but when these little mistakes pile up, then you just go, okay, something's got to be addressed.
Yeah, I agree. There's something, before we carry on with this, I want to address. Do you guys think the War of the Rohirrim movie will be better than this show? Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I don't know, and this may be, I don't know, this may be like a very, like, just taken out of nowhere thing. But is it going to be a thing that we come to realize that Tolkien's work works great as movies, does not work as a series? I don't feel like that should be the case at all.
It shouldn't be.
But it's one of those, like, if War of the Rohirrim works, obviously Lord of the Rings worked. Hobbit had its issues, but was not quite... It had issues in different ways to this show.
Yeah.
But in terms of a story overall, ignoring anything they changed out, blah, 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 kind of worked in itself. This show is not working on that level because they seem to be stretched, like everything's just stretched out and too slow. So maybe if the War of the Rohirrim works as well, maybe it becomes a thing.
Magar Amonk says, is story bad because they don't have license at the main part of Lord of the Rings? No. They've got
They actually do have the license to that.
Yeah, they have the license to the appendices of the Lord of the Rings. But there's even stuff that's blatantly explained. For example, Galadriel and Celeborn and their doings within the Second Age is written within the appendices. And at this point, in this compressed timeline, it should make sense that they're together and doing stuff, right? So,
yeah,
even though it's written out.
Yeah, they should basically already have their daughter at this point. They have their daughter about, I think, 500 years into the Second Age, if I remember right. Which, realistically, if we're at a point of Numenor, where Elros is gone, and we're at the point of Miriel and Farazon, that's way past that point of them. They should have already, for one, they should be married, which should have really been a thing anyway. They should at least know each other. That would be nice. But they should actually have a child, which obviously is Celebrian, right?
Celebrian.
Who obviously ends up becoming Elrond's wife. So yeah, it's I just
yeah. The
my
time
point.
compression. Now, the funny thing, obviously, this whole video, this whole stream is about trying to figure out if we can justify these law changes. So far, I think we're like a 3 for 3 on no. They can't justify them. The time compression one, though, I think is a little different.
I will maybe say that we could probably, at a stretch, justify the Harfoots.
Yeah, okay. At a stretch, we can. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
But not, I see. I'm not saying that it's right, but you maybe justify.
Yeah. Now, the thing with the time compression, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the writers here.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine trying to write a show where half of your cast, your main characters, are immortal, and half of them die within 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's very difficult to do over 5 seasons.
Okay. I will bring up something here then.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us are watching House of the Dragon at this point. I will watch it once it's done. I will binge it in one go rather than do a week by week thing. But I know in this last episode they have jumped about, I think it's something like 60 odd years. So they basically recast like a lot of people because they've done a big time jump, which kind of goes to show that, like, I don't know enough about it. So I can't say it's been great, it's been not, but I've still only heard positive things coming from people that I know that have seen it. So yeah, maybe the characters are the same names, but if you've got like a 10-year-old kid you then recast as a grown adult, that's not going to be the same character anyway. Like, even if you got the same name, the experiences in life are going to make them slightly different to what they were. So in the same way that, like, Numenorians should be noble, there's an overarching thing about them that should kind of be present throughout. So in a way, it should still work in that way. And I think it's almost such a bad thing for this show that House of the Dragon seems to be doing those things they said they would fail at.
They jumped 10
doing
years
well.
in House of the Dragon.
Oh, 10 years? I heard it was more than that. Yeah. See, this is what I mean. I don't watch it, so I will get some things wrong. But, okay, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have recast a bunch of people, haven't they, because of that? I know they've just made some people older, but like a lot of the kids, I think, have become like adults and stuff.
Yeah, but you can't do that with an elf. It's like a few thousand years old. Let's recast her for 100 years down the line, and she looks different. Like, no, she's immortal.
Well, no, an elf wouldn't need to be. It'd be.
Yeah,
that almost like defends their point of they don't age in the same way, so they would be the same throughout all those ages. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those that if they had good writers on board, they could have made it work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the right thing, and I understand why they did that part of it. But I also feel like it could have worked with the jumps as well. Or maybe somewhere in the middle. Compress it a bit, but maybe instead of it being a few thousand years, it's 1,000 years. That kind of idea. Like, I don't know.
We just get frustrated.
Can we have a sigh count starting in the corner?
Yeah. Let's look at some comments.
Okay. Someone else just said 20 to 30 years they think it's been for the... Yeah.
Episode 1. Okay.
Oh, okay, right.
I don't like middle-aged looking elves. Yeah, within Peter Jackson's universe, they all kind of look a similar age, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm of that. Maybe it's just because it's what we grew up with, but like the Kate Blanchett age, to me, that was like what I pictured all elves like that. That's the image I got in my head of that kind of age.
Matt says, was Mithril supposed to have a tie into the Silmarils and the Legendarium? We will get to that, my friend. Stick around. That is coming up soon.
Many more sides.
Okay. Shall we move on? Time compression, again. I think we're going to say no, can't be justified.
After everything I've said, I think it can be justified. It's only from a adapting it to screen point of view, I can understand why it potentially needs to be done. I can understand in terms of actors why you want people to bond with these characters.
Yeah.
I can understand all that. That was one of the things from before the show that although I didn't like, I could see the reasoning behind it, and it didn't seem to. Some of the decisions seemed to be anti-Tolkien. This one I didn't feel was. I feel like it was just their way of trying to make stuff work for people who didn't know the show.
Yeah, and again, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the writers and imagine the headache.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, we'll give it that one. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about then is the Stranger.
You mean Gandalf? No, Sauron. No, Saruman.
Bombadil.
No, Radagast. No.
Yeah. So we got a lot more about the Stranger in episode 5. We've seen him actually talk a bit more, starting to learn Yeah, starting to learn some English, but in an Irish accent, and he demonstrates again his use of magic by swapping the floor and scaring off some wolves. From that, then he has like some damage to his arm, so he puts it in some water and uses some kind of ice magic.
Yes, and a spell that sounds very evil in wording, sounds, whatever
it does.
It
does. I think the best way to put that is summarized here in this comment from Enigma Records: Stranger danger. Yeah.
So this is one I'm outright going to say: Stranger is actually no. Regardless, I don't think they can do anything with the Stranger at this point to make it necessary.
I agree.
There we go.
Moving on.
No, yeah, well, it's one of those. So, for those who don't know, the 5 Astari are obviously Gandalf, Radagast, Saruman,
Avatar and Palando.
Yes, the Blue Wizards, the ones that we don't really know so much about. They are the only 2 that is possible for the Stranger to be technically. The other 3 come in the Third Age. That is written. It's on the. It's there. Doesn't change. They cannot be as they are as Gandalf, Saruman, and Radagast. Okay, there's the argument for Olorin as an idea, but also he's kind of said to have walked unseen. So again, doesn't really work. Now, yes, so could be the Blue Wizards. However, the Blue Wizards should turn up at the same time on a ship with Glorfindel, not via Mithril on their own. So, no, simply no.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think there's any existing character that they can link the Stranger to that people will be satisfied with. Many people are suggesting Balrog. We covered that in our theory video for who the Stranger could be. It's certainly possible. It's possible that he could be a Balrog. I'm not saying I'd like it. I'm not saying it's necessary, but it's possible. At this point, I feel like he just needs to be an original character that's magical, and they'll come up with some relatively rubbish storyline about his origin and his destiny and his meaning to be in Middle Earth. Like, yeah, someone's saying here, Meteor Man is Shelob. Also, wouldn't surprise me. We saw what the Shadow of games did with Shelob. Okay, so we're going to go with no. Cannot justify this.
No, I find it really. I can't think of a scenario they make this right in my head.
No, same here.
Even at a stretch, I mean, if he turns around and he's really evil and he kills all the Harfoots and turns in, I don't know why he would turn into a Balrog. That's the bit I find hard, is when people say Balrog, is how does he become the fire demon that realistically they've been since the time of Melkor? Like, how does he become that now?
No, it's silly. So, Alex says, I heard it's actually Melkor come back as a good guy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the riots? They would start in this room and they would travel worldwide. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I don't even have words for that. I think I'll just be on the floor in the fetal position, hoping it's all a dream. Or nightmare. I should say nightmare.
All right, guys, we have 2 lore changes left. Now, this next one covers a few, so let's get to it. New characters. Let's talk a little bit about the introduction of new characters. Here's a few. We have Adar, Disa, Arondia, and I forgot her name. Iarian, yes. Elendil's daughter, Isildur, and Anarian's brother. Right?
Oh, we had a super chat. Sorry, just to interrupt for a moment.
James Cantella, thank you very much. When the stranger heals his arm, he uses Quenya. Interesting.
Oh, does he?
Interesting.
I did not actually realize that because it sounded a lot more evil.
Okay. Thank you very much
Fair
for
play.
the knowledge bomb right there. Something we missed out on. Thank you so much. Okay, so new characters. First of all, what are you guys thinking about the new additions? To be honest, looking at this right here, 3 out of 4 of these I think are fantastic additions. Disa is just great.
Yep.
Maybe down to the performance.
Yep.
The actress is fantastic.
Yep.
Arondir, I really, really like. He's almost the most elf-like elf in the show so far, and a bit cooler. Yeah. Adar, I'm kind of glued to the screen whenever he's on screen. I find him really is mesmerizing the right word? I don't know. It's something about him though.
He's a scene stealer.
Yeah, I want to watch. I like him a lot, and I think it's a very, very interesting idea to play with of a corrupted elf leading the orcs. And I'm very curious to see where it goes. There's a bit of an on-the-nose scene here, where in episode 5, with Adar, when they talk about I forgot the guy's name from the Southlands, the Morgoth supporter. He's like, "I will serve you, Sauron." And he's like, "You're not Sauron. Well, I'll serve you, whoever you are."
Yeah.
It was like it's almost
with then like a clothesline chokeslam thing going on.
Yeah, but did they almost? I know in one of the earlier episodes they pointed out that Adar it could just be another name for Sauron. So were they literally expecting the whole audience to be convinced that Adar was Sauron, and this was meant to be a big twist moment? Like, what? It's not actually him. It's not Sauron. Because I just went, well, yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah, it's one of those that. Oh my god, I've forgotten who posted it last time, and they actually watched our video and said it, and I've forgotten the name again. So I'm really sorry if you're watching this again. They put out the theory that I like of they put red herrings out for where every fan base is coming from. So it was the fans of the book, it's Halbrand, you assume is Sauron. Fans of just the movies, it's the Stranger, leaving will become Sauron. And for those who are just new to the show and the show alone, Adar is this is Sauron, which I do think would work well if I honestly still believed they were competent enough to do it.
Yeah, it'd be a bold move.
Yeah, it would be, and it would make sense for them to like on the writing table be like, okay, we need red herrings here, and we need ones that all fans are going to get, and we're not going to have one fan base go, oh well, they were right all along. So I do get that. But again, it's the conviction of it.
Yeah, I agree. Adar looks like an emo kid. I actually disagree. I think he looks like an elf that's been out of the sun with his orcs for a long time.
Yeah, you feel like he would have fitted in with elves at one point.
I agree with this. Don't think Sauron has been shown yet.
I'm 100% the same.
Nathan says, in order, number 1, Arondir, 2, it's Disa, D-I-S-A. 3, Adar, and 4, Sister of Isildur is useless character for me. Why is she even there? Okay, so this is something we definitely need to cover. She is not only a new character, but a change to the lore. We can't really say that introducing new characters is a change to the lore because Tolkien didn't write about every character that ever existed within his universe. How could he? That's impossible. But this one...
Yeah. This one, they did change.
Yes.
Because, yes. Elendil does not have a daughter. Isildur does not have a sister. And Arion does not have a sister. Just to clear that up. So, why is she there? What does she bring to the table? And why, in all honesty, should I give a hoot about her?
She's obviously there to cause some kind of drama. Like in episode 5, she was super against the leaving Numenor to help the elf and her mission within the Southlands. But I was just a bit like, well, why? Your father and your brothers are all for it. Why is there some kind of tension? And again, does this come down to lazy writing? There's no setup. Why does she feel this way?
Yeah, they've literally given no reason for her being any different from the rest of her family at all.
Enigma Record says she's only there for Farazon's made-up son. Yeah, but why does it need to be the daughter of Elendil? Like, it doesn't make any sense. We thought it was going to be something to do with the ships.
Yeah, there's still the whole thing that she's part of the Builders Guild. Is it Builders?
Yeah.
See, this is part of the issue, is I care so little
Yeah.
I'm forgetting stuff about her, and that's a bad sign. Like, I just don't care to know and remember the stuff about her at this point.
Her and Frazon's kid bug me. Yeah, same here. They very much bug me. Both of them.
Is Kemen? Yeah, Kemen.
Yes, we thought it was Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin. I'm gonna call him Kevin. He's a Kevin.
Yeah.
So Kevin, he's a new addition, but again, why does Farazon need a son? Like,
he does not.
It's the kind of thing where it's the same as Durin. That you can have these exact same characters in different positions. They don't need to be related. He could just have like an advisor, Farazon, or basically the person who looks up to him so much and almost like looks at him and goes, "Well, you're going to be king someday, so I'm at your side because I'm going to be hand to the king." When that kind of idea, doesn't need to be a son.
Just here to cause family tension. Yeah, I think it's pretty much just that. All it is.
It's going to be family tension for her to redeem herself at the last moment, save them all with something that she's done, but probably sacrifice herself in doing so. Yeah. So we're supposed to be like, "Oh no, she's gone," when really we're like, "Oh yay, she's gone." So yeah, that is her job for me now, is to die.
Yeah. Invisible Woman says, "Do you think Amazon is hearing all the comments about lazy writing? I hope they fix it." I do think they are hearing these comments. We know.
Do you think they care?
Yeah, we know that they're very involved in the YouTube community. Not necessarily involved, but they pay attention. And I think most Tolkien YouTubers, ourselves, and of the West, there's been some things said that aren't necessarily positive, more constructive. Thrown out some suggestions, maybe.
I don't actually know a single channel that has been full on positive. No. I feel the most positive has been Robert at Indie Geek, I think. But he's also a very positive person in general. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Corey Olsen, definitely the most positive, actually. But but then realistically, everyone has had their complaints and their suggestions, might be a way of saying it. So, yeah, it's...
Yeah. Ryan's got an interesting comment here. It does seem like everyone is rooting for evil to win. That says a lot, really. You're trying to introduce these new heroic characters, yet we're kind of empathizing or sympathizing with the evil side more. It's not saying a lot for the characters that you're writing. I like Adar and his orcs. They're one of the stronger points in the show.
Yeah.
For all I care, go and take over the Southlands. I don't care.
But let Arondir escape.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind some more of him.
Yeah. How do we think the Adar storyline will tie in with the Galadriel storyline? Well, it'll be some kind of conflict, right? Numenor and Galadriel will arrive in the Southlands. There'll be a battle. There'll be some kind of... She probably knows him.
I think she's going to. I feel like that's just set up to happen now.
Yeah.
There's going to be some reason, or even if it's straight away she doesn't realize who it is, then he'll make a comment about something, and then she'll have that, "Oh my God, it's you!" moment. Done. Predicted the next episode already. You're welcome.
Every time they say the sea is always right, I die a little inside. Yeah, it's really, really strange.
Where did that come from?
I have no clue.
Like, yeah. That's as if it's a sign.
Kyle says, "It's just so boring. I want to like it. I try to enjoy it, but it's a total snooze fest." Oh man, I hate to agree with you. Like, I can't even put into words how much I want to like this show. In episodes 1 and 2 and even 3 a little bit, I was like almost blinded by my need to enjoy this show. But as it goes on and after rewatches, like, man, it's just it's just not great.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm saying it's not great.
But it should be. That is the problem with the build-up, with the way they sold it, as what they tried to sell it as this is a show for Tolkien. This is the show that if Tolkien was alive, he would want. That's how they tried to sell it to us. And that's not what they produced. Like I said, we can accept a not perfect show. It's so rare for something like that to come together. Especially with so much like, because it's been so in your face. It's the biggest show ever made. There's so much pressure on it. So to live up to that is just almost impossible, really. It was never going to be a 10 out of 10 show because of the pressure it was under. But
another side. Dominic, what's up, Dom? Thanks for tuning in. Do you think you'd enjoy the show more or less if you weren't a Tolkien fan beforehand? It's a great question.
More. No,
I'd say less because I probably wouldn't even watch it. I think I would have watched maybe 2 episodes and then given up if I wasn't a Tolkien fan. I'm watching it purely because I'm hoping. Obviously, I'm watching it because we are a Middle Earth channel and we talk about this stuff, but also because I'm hoping there will be payoffs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To be honest, then, if I'm being very realistic about this, if I was not a Tolkien fan, I wouldn't be watching this. I very much got to a point, and this is just a obviously very personal thing. Is I don't have time to watch every TV show I want to watch anymore. I just can't fit them in. So I do very much listen to what people say about shows as a general thing. I don't listen to like one voice. I listen to a general like feeling of things. Obviously, you have people that you know have similar interests, and they will tell you thoughts of it. And from what I've heard about the show, I don't see why I would waste the time to watch it. If I'm being perfectly honest, and that kills me a little bit.
But that going on that can be a problem because, let's be honest, there are people that haven't even watched the show that are crapping all over it just because they were so much on the hate bandwagon from the start, they didn't even give it a chance, and they're just trying to bring it down because it's Amazon.
Yes.
So that would be a problem. But no matter what, either way, I would have watched this because it's the most expensive show ever. Why wouldn't you? I would have given it a chance. If I wasn't a Tolkien fan, I wouldn't be watching it right now.
No. I think the best way to compare it is to The Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Because everyone said how bad that was. And when I've heard people talking about Wheel of Time, like the books and stuff, it sounds like a world I could enjoy. But because I've heard of how badly they adapted it, I have no interest in watching the show. So I feel like it would just go the same way with this.
There's a comment here from Johnny. Hard to enjoy when everyone is being negative just for the sake of being negative. Sorry, guys, I'm out. Johnny, trust me, my friend, we are not being negative for the sake of being negative. We have been very positive about certain aspects of the show, and we've been very negative about certain aspects of the show. In all honesty, all we've done is just be honest with our thoughts.
Yes, like even like saying just now that we will admit, probably a bit blinded in the earlier episode. Like you said, and I would say the same, is just being able to go back to Middle Earth is such a thing for me that I will ignore stuff to start with. Not ignore stuff. I'll be more willing to give stuff time to start with. So yeah, they've just not taken that initial joy and run with it. They've it.
Yeah, this is a great comment from Renee. I hate how Hollywood thinks a strong woman has to be cold and mean and more manly. It's the opposite of feminism. To be a strong woman, she must be manly. Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, that's something that in my head I have thought, but probably not something I'd say out loud. Yeah, can't come from us.
Sorry guys, we're miles behind on the comments, so just trying to catch up on a few.
Outside of this show, name me a strong female character that you've enjoyed in a show.
In a show or just in film and television?
Film and television.
Oh god.
I'm putting you on the spot now because
Alien. What's it?
Oh, Ripley.
Yeah. All I've got is Rhea Ripley in my head. She's a wrestler.
What is her name?
You guys know.
No. I hate when this happens.
Yeah. Oh god, what is wrong with me? Terminator.
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor. Jeez. We're doing these Lord of the Rings live streams.
I know.
Everything outside of Middle Earth.
Just suddenly changing it, so you have to just yeah. But like it shows that how old are those films and how well they did it.
Yeah.
Like
Sarah Connor is one of my favorite lead characters from a movie ever. Doesn't matter whether she's a man or woman. Yeah. So
I always hate these comparisons because it's just frustrating. But Game of Thrones, Brienne of Tarth, that was a great job of having a strong woman and a woman, not a woman made to be like a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not stay on this subject too long because it's a trigger for so many people.
Creepy Killer says, I came to your channel and read books because of the announcement of the Rings of Power. But you guys have been honest. You guys have been honest. I can honestly say that if they killed off 90% of the characters next episode, I wouldn't care. Yeah, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another great example there for a strong female character.
Yes.
Princess Leia. There we go. Sarah Connor, yeah. Caitlin Stark. Ellen Ripley?
Is it Ellen?
Is it?
It must be. I don't know. Sure.
Oh, The Bride, Kill Bill, of course.
You know, I've never seen Kill Bill.
What?
I know.
What?
I know.
Dude, go home.
I know. It's one of those. I'm just like, I don't know. It's missed me somehow.
That's crazy. Are the mystics searching for Sauron or for an enemy of Sauron?
Okay. This is frustrating me more and more as time's gone on. Is that we got nothing from them. We just saw what we saw in the trailers again.
Yeah.
With no real anything. Why did they need to be there?
They're being introduced, but it would have been good to introduce them and then give us some payoff
Yeah,
within that episode.
They introduced us just to go, okay, bye. It just didn't feel like it wasn't like a tease. It was just popped in there and gone. Oh, whoops, we forgot to move the scene out. That was supposed to be in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Back to the point.
I'm just sorry, seeing some funny comments. Karen Ladriel is insufferable, just terrible writing. I agree. It's still too early to judge the show. Yes, but we still should be able to have the ability to judge what we have seen so far, and that's what we're doing.
It's like saying we're not going to stop watching it. We will finish, and we've said from day one we need a season at least to really flesh out opinions on it.
Yeah,
we can have reactions, we can have thoughts, but without the whole season to feel payoffs for things, then
thanks for backing me up, Matt. Yes, you do.
Sorry,
there's lots of things wrong with it.
Go do it.
We have another. Hey. Renee just donated $10 to make you go and watch Kill Bill. Now I feel like you have to. If Renee comes back in our next stream and you haven't seen Kill Bill, we owe her $10 on $9.99.
Oh no!
Thank you very much for the super chat.
Yes, thank you for.
Yes. Cracking. I love it. Who else wants to donate super chats for James to go and watch Kill Bill?
Sorry, that comment from Great Modern Myths. Put that one up. I think this is a great example of something. Saying Liv Tyler said it best when they made the decision to not have Arwen at Helm's Deep. You don't need to give a woman a sword to make her strong. Because for those of you who don't know, when they originally shot the Lord of the Rings films, they had Arwen show up with the elves at Helm's Deep. Mm-hmm. So obviously there's still one or two shots where you could potentially just see her sword or something in the background, like a little few teasers and stuff. But in the end, they looked at it and went, no, this doesn't make sense for one. I mean, the elves at Helm's Deep was a whole thing. But it didn't make sense for her to be there. She didn't need to be there. And so they just cut it. They just went, this doesn't need to happen. So why leave it in there just for the sake of having Arwen there? It's not necessary. And it just shows that they just had so much more care for the thing they were.
Yeah, I agree. I really hope this isn't the case, but I do find the idea of casting Eminem as Sauron pretty funny. I mean, it's not going to be the case. That is an actress.
If Eminem does not release a song that references that at some point, that he was cast as Sauron, I will feel quite gutted because he loves that kind of thing. So if that's never in a future video with him dressed up in the Sauron costume or something, I'll be gutted.
Ahsoka from Star Wars, yes.
Yes,
I mean, animated, but yes, still.
Yes, Ahsoka was one. I think it might be in the last live stream which you went on actually, which I said about being a great example of a character who started off so annoying to the point it almost put me off a show, being the Clone Wars. But by the end of the Clone Wars, I absolutely love her. She's an amazing character, and I cannot wait to see more of her after. So it shows that they can bring this back. They can turn Galadriel into the Galadriel that we deserve. Maybe not the one we want, but the one that we deserve.
All right, Christopher Nolan. Jake, cool name, says, please say you've watched other Quentin movies. Tarantino.
I have. I have seen names, Pulp Fiction. I've seen... on the spot, I cannot think of a single Tarantino film.
Django?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Some other ones. Okay, let's get away from Tarantino movies. Super chat from Javier, thank you very much. Valverde? Theory. Adar is Maglor and is the elf that fought the Balrog for the Silmaril and lost his elvishness in that battle. Balrog then became the Meteor Man. It's an interesting theory. It's one that I have seen floating about. But I'm pretty sure Maglor fell to his death, right?
I think it's another one of these. They kind of didn't necessarily say died, but very much wrote to the point of going, he ain't surviving this.
Yeah.
I do get the idea of Maglor with the whole that he threw the Silmaril, burnt his hand, and that's why Adar has the gauntlet and all that. There are things like that. I would love that idea, but they've still got a bit of work to do to make that.
They've got some work to do. But I wouldn't be against it.
But also because he's another Silmarillion character, and they don't have those rights apart from the things they're asking for, that's why I find it harder to maybe think that again that
Well,
they
maybe
might not be that smart.
they might just because they can't. Let's say they can't get rights to it.
Mhm.
What they could do is just make it for the Tolkien hardcore fans. Go, oh, it's really obvious it is him, but they're just calling him Adar. He's basically got a nickname, and they may just do it like that. I honestly wouldn't be against him being mad. I think that would be okay.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for addressing that, Javier,
True.
and thank you
Yeah.
for the super chat. We have a super chat from Stephen Drayling. No question, but thank you so much. If you have a question, please send it in below. Really appreciate the support. We have another super chat from Victor S. Trinity
Ooh.
from the Matrix. Of course. How did we forget
Yes.
Trinity? What a badass.
Yeah, we've said it before. When we're put on the spot with things like this, quite often the mind just goes blank.
Yeah.
And like as soon as this ends, we'd go, oh, there's this one and this one and this one and this one. Then you just go,
Yeah.
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 In fact, actually looking at AR and blah, 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 fake daughter, Hermione is a great strong female character from Harry Potter. Because she's basically Emma Watson.
Yeah. Celebrimbor looks like Galadriel's granddad. Does he? Does he look like that?
I guess that's just the age thing of saying
Oh,
how
right.
young
Yeah,
she
yeah,
looks
yeah.
and how old he is, and realistically, they're supposed to all look about the same.
Sildar and his sister's story was so stupid. Could have been in some teenage drama. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the topic at hand.
I do just want, sorry, now we're talking, just because it's come up, that's something that I thought with the episode more, is, so they're all preparing the ships and all this stuff, and it just makes it seem like Elendil, Isildur, no one spoke to the sister at any point to tell her what was going on, because she sees him marching and is shocked to see him in armor and stuff, and that they're leaving. And there's no conversation had at any point to basically be like, by the way, going off to Middle-earth for God knows how long to fight in a supposedly big war battle, and there's no like of her with her father being like, no, Dad, why are you doing this kind of thing. Like even that could have maybe helped a bit of trying to understand of why she had those thoughts. Maybe it's more about the fact that she doesn't want to lose her father after losing her mother, and that's why she doesn't want him to go, not necessarily because of the more elf thing. Like there could be other things to it, but we didn't get that, and it just suddenly seemed like she was saying like, oh my God, they're all leaving, like nobody knew. It's moving on.
So obviously, again, we need to kind of figure out if these characters are justified. Now, I'm going to say that most are definitely justified.
Yes.
But again, and I said this earlier, justifying new characters as changes to the lore is not really the correct way to go about things, because again, introducing new characters and their stories to tell isn't a lore change.
No, but the ones that don't work are the ones that have changed the law in adding them to families. The ones that do work are the ones that don't change the law, in that they're never written about. Nothing about them or their families, blah, 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 is written about.
Basically, what we're saying is an Arondir, an Adar, a Disa, they're all justified because they're not changing anything. They are new additions.
Yes.
Someone like in Isildur's sister, she is a law change because he doesn't have a sister. Elendil doesn't have a daughter. So, no, it's not justified. She doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
She could have just been some random ex-girlfriend or some, I don't know, anything. She doesn't need to have been a changed character. It didn't need to change the law to bring her in. So, another non-justified change.
Yes. So basically, that gets a 1 each. That's like a 1-1.
Yeah.
So, but I will also say that probably the new additions are debatably the strongest characters in the show.
I agree.
So that helps them.
Okay, we have one more law change to address.
What could this possibly be?
It's one from episode 5, the latest episode, and something that is very controversial to a lot of people. That is, of course, Mithril coming from Silmaril, the light of a Mithril coming from that of a Silmaril. Now, where to begin with this one?
Okay, so what are they doing? No, let's be a little more sensible about it.
Okay, let's start with this then. So Matthew said, I hope Robert from Indie Geek is right about the Mithril theory and it's just a ploy by Anatar. I really like this. I like this idea.
Yeah.
But straight away, what puts me off this and makes me think that that's not going to be the case is the fact that this story is essentially brought up by Gil-galad asking Elrond to tell the ancient tale.
Yes.
So if it's an ancient legend that everyone knows about, it's not something recent that Anatar could just introduce.
Yes, but it's a weird one because the tale, I guess, it talks about the lightning and all that, and it going down into the mountain. Doesn't necessarily like it's a weird one because it makes it sound like if this is a thing that they know about, why have they never gone digging?
Yeah.
What is the possible reason they would have not searched for this themselves and
Yeah.
that they've just waited for the dwarves to find it?
True.
Like, what? Okay, fine, it's a dwarven kingdom there, but there was no reason. Like at times, the elves and the dwarves did get on. There's no reason they couldn't have done that in the past.
I didn't even think about that. You know, they knew about this the whole time. It's a
That-
story.
That's how. But that's the thing. They're making it sound like it's not necessarily a story. Like, I guess it's like a fucking treasure map. Like you just go, well, it's obviously not real. It's not treasure on X marks the spot. But then they're going, well, actually, there is treasure, and it's
I don't know. There's nothing about this that I like. Why can't it just be? Oh, we have a super chat. Well, yeah, why can't it just be Mithril and that's that? We'll get back to that. We have a super chat from Stephen again. Thank you very much. Adar Witch King season 1 set up 9 ring race backstory. Season 2 giving them rings out. I don't think Adar will be the Witch King as he is an elf. The
Witch King
Nazgul are men. That's the whole point. 9 rings given to men, so he can't be the Witch King. Season 1, I think we're too deep into it for it to be a setup of the ring race backstory. There's a couple of characters that could be ring race, but there's not 9, so it's a bit odd. Season 2 will be giving the rings out. There'll definitely be something at some point. Like whether it's season 2 or not, I don't know. Probably more the creation of them. Maybe season 3 giving them out. I don't know.
I mean, I'm still pretty set in my thoughts that season 1 will end with the forge like first being lit, coming out, then being like, oh my god, it's amazing. By the way, here's Anatar, this mysterious person who's told us all these great things. And that's how the season will end.
Yeah, probably. But thank you for the super chat anyway. Okay, where we at? So many comments behind. Obi-Wan says, also, hello there. Considering without lore, this show is not a good show. And if we take the lore into consideration, it just straight sucks. My answer to that is... okay, so Mithril coming from a Silmaril. This doesn't need too much of a discussion. It's a very obvious answer. No, they cannot justify this.
No, they can.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
How?
By it being
employed by Anatar.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
The only way for them to justify it is by taking it back.
Yeah, no. The justification is not to do with this. Sorry, the justification is to do with the elves believing they're going to fade, which is their reasoning for wanting the Mithril. But no, sorry, it doesn't justify this at all. I'm thinking of the whole thing, which I guess is another topic that we haven't actually got anything prepared for. Was the idea that the elves will fade by spring or whatever it is. Yeah, sorry. Okay, correct.
Either way, either one of those that you just spoke about, either one of them can be justified if the way to justify them is by taking it back.
In a way,
it's not the case. It was just Anatar lying to us. That doesn't justify this decision.
I think it could justify the elves believing that they're going to fade, because Sauron is a master of words.
Yeah, I agree
that he could make them. He says he comes as a messenger from the Valar, basically saying that makes them think that this will happen, and that's why they need to do this. But no, the Mithril from the Silmaril part is not the way to go about it.
Also, what you're saying is something that might not happen, so we can't justify it through something that could happen in the future. As of right now, if it's just
it's all potential payoff.
Yes, if we're taking it as we see it, as it's been given to us, then no, we cannot justify it. Completely unnecessary. Some of the words being thrown around.
Yeah.
They can justify it if they ignore everything about it. Yeah.
I mean,
we're at TBS in London at the meet and greet. We were at the premiere. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there.
Do you think that at any point they will just retcon anything that they've written? Because the one that pops to my mind is Stranger Things. Have you seen the new season?
Yeah.
So spoiler Strange Things, just in case. I don't really know if it's much of a spoiler. Obviously, the season where Eleven meets her sister in the earlier season, she goes off and has that emo phase. And then in the newer season, there's a whole new backstory about them being back. And basically just went, that whole thing didn't happen. Did they? Basically, yeah.
I didn't on board.
They basically, just did all that. So, yeah, I wonder if they would ever come back to anything and just, like, pretend they never said it.
I don't. That would.
I don't
That would
know.
be
I don't
disappointing.
know. Yeah, it'd be disappointing, but it's one of those that it could be done, and I just don't know.
Well, the Broken Sword, I know that you have been holding your true opinion on the show for quite a while. We've just been honest with our
Yeah,
feelings week after week, really.
it's one of those that, like we've all said from the beginning, the payoffs could have turned this into a great show if they'd managed to turn things around in a way that maybe you go, okay, yes, it was a slow start, maybe not the best start, but they could bring it around. And now we've gotten so far in, and they're showing no signs of it. That's where the faith has to start, like, disappearing.
With the elves.
Yeah, yeah, my faith will be gone by spring.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those that we just held on to the fact that maybe that they spoke some truth in that they were really passionate about the show and that they were going to turn it around and give us something great. But they haven't even showed a slight turning of a corner yet to point us in that direction, which it's what's getting to the point now where it's getting more and more frustrating. And it's almost like the more you talk about it, the more you realize it's wrong.
Now, I've just seen this comment from Rogue198, which I really like. The Mithril cure is all a theory. It will fail, and that leads to Anatar and his, hey, here's an idea, magic rings. That will save the elven race. That could work, you know. They're like, oh, the light is the only way that we can save ourselves. The light from this ore. And then they go, oh no, it didn't work. And Anatar's like, I got you guys. I got you.
I mean, they could do it in the way of going, the only way to really sustain a whole realm with it is by putting it into rings, which the leaders of those realms wear, and that's how it sustains it and everything. Like, I can potentially get the idea. I believe it's only the one ring that's ever claimed to have Mithril in it, as the ring is made of, or part of. I'm not even sure the entire thing is, but yeah.
Interesting theory, though. I think a good way to make the show better is to get a new writer's room. They might.
I volunteer.
Yeah. Same.
We'll do it.
We're in. Okay, I'm just going through some comments. The elves seem a bit incompetent. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then your business, Sauron. That's clever. Okay, I mean, I feel like we've covered all the law changes. Can they justify this one? No.
No, not this part of it.
I mean, you can say that they can justify it with a reveal of it being all a ploy in the future, but we don't. Taking it on the surface right now, as we've been given it, no. So if we've gone through Harfoots in the Second Age, justifiable at a stretch.
Yeah.
Human elf relationships, no. At least definitely can't work out.
I'll be no's.
Okay. Valinor,
no.
King and Prince Durin existing at the same time,
no.
Time compression.
This is a stretch. I think this is like a 50-50.
One each.
The
Stranger being a magical character.
Nope.
New characters.
Again, a 50-50.
Yes.
It depends on the character.
Just to conclude with that, is because the new introductions characters are great and not necessarily changes to the lore, but the ones that have been introduced that have changed the lore, such as Isildur's sister, have been for the worst. So that's a no.
But there's a yes for that.
Yeah. Finally, Mithril from a Silmaril is a no. Have you ended up with 7?
I don't know.
You've been adding the nose on as well, haven't you? I've only got 4 no's.
I thought I said I was nose.
Oh.
Did we just mess that up?
We messed that up.
I thought I was doing nose.
Maybe you were. I think I might have messed that up.
Either way.
Okay.
The answer is no.
One with there, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it was 7-3 to no.
Yeah. And even those yeses, 3 of those yeses were 50-50.
Yeah.
There was only one definite yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good. We've been saying it before, and we'll say it again. They have not made the correct decisions with the writing in this show. I genuinely, I know everyone's saying it, I feel like I would have written a better show. I feel like if we were put in charge, it would have been better.
I'm actually, when this season is over, I think we create 2 videos, do 2 live streams, whichever way we end up doing it, whichever way you guys would like. We do basically how we would have written the Rings of Power. We'll do it, 1 with what they gave us and adjusting it, and 2 from scratch. And we will show it could have been done.
So we'll do it with their characters and their ideas,
Yes.
and then we'll do how we would have written the story within the second age.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in.
But we'll give them till the end of season 1, just so we know where it goes. Even if we say we got to get to the end point and we got to make the middle work, we'll figure it out. But would you guys like to see that? Because that would be quite fun.
It would.
I mean, there's probably a lot more ranting in the video as well about.
There's a comment from Jim that says, "Remember, filming is far ahead of us viewing. Any changes would at least be a half season away." This is the problem for a lot of people that are saying they'll change the writing team and whatnot. The problem is they have scripts up to the end of season 3, so maybe not a
do it.
Maybe not a lot of changes are going to happen.
No, I think it's definitely going to be a.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time change. But the thing is, though, like what they said, it's going to be 2 years until season 2, and they do reshoots. So there is a chance, even if they've started, they might go back and go, you know what, we're actually better off delaying. It might end up being 3 years.
I think they have started filming season 2.
No, but that's what I mean. They might even turn around and go because of some of the backlash.
Mm.
And I generally think it may be worth them doing, because at the end of the day, they spend so much money. What's delaying one part of the season kind of thing? To go, we really need to get this back on track.
Yeah.
We really need to bring the broken sword into writing.
That's what they'll be saying. Yeah, scripts can be rewritten.
Yes.
And if you guys start a petition to get us involved, we'll do it.
Peter Jackson was changing and adding lines to the Lord of the Rings script the day of shoots.
Yeah.
They had obviously the overall script, but he would add stuff and change stuff like throughout.
Mm.
So there's no need in saying that they haven't finished filming season 2. They haven't wrapped on secondary shooting and reshoots and additional stuff. There's no reason things cannot be changed, apart from being too stubborn to admit you are not doing the best you can.
Mm. Everyone keeps blabbering about the amount of money spent. Tell me, what in the show so far looks $1 billion US? First of all,
the visuals. I will give them that.
The visuals look great. This is definitely like the Warg.
Yeah, there's CGI moments.
Yeah, like the Balrog look great. I mean, I like all the visuals of all of the places we've been, the Southlands, Numenor, Khazad-dûm. They all look fantastic. However,
although the irony is,
hang on, I got to point this out. The budget for the production was not $1 billion, right? It was like $250 million just for the rights. So we're taking that into consideration.
And is it the billion is for the full 5 seasons, or is the billion, was that just season 1?
I'm not entirely sure,
because I kind of thought it was the show is $1 billion, which I mean I don't know. To be honest, I don't think they'll ever be truly transparent on any of that. But what I was going to say is the irony of a lot of all this money stuff and the visuals look great and all that is the best stuff is always the on location stuff.
Yeah,
you could even see it with the Harfoots like traveling. The best bits were where they were obviously in a location, walking somewhere beautiful in New Zealand.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the irony of it all. Is that it'd be so much probably cheaper to move people there than is to get this visually made.
I agree. Nathan says 100% love here, guys, for this channel. I always watch Rings of Power, then immediately join the after party. See you Friday. Thank you very much. We will see you Friday.
Oh
yes, good point.
This Friday will be slightly different because we are actually going to be on the Melonheads, the Council of Elrond podcast. So because of that and doing our usual breakdown, we will not be doing a live stream directly after on Friday.
Yeah, but definitely go and check out our thoughts on the Melonheads podcast.
Yes, and we will still have the breakdown as well. So we will give some thoughts. Maybe I'll leave a bit more time for a reviewing section at the end as well, so we can get some in that.
Okay, super chat here from Victor. Tolkien Untangled YouTuber did great videos. How he would have written the show. Okay, yeah. I haven't checked them out, but
no, a lot of stuff like that. I want to finish season 1 before I start seeing the.
I don't want to see anybody else's, to be honest. I know Yosten did one as well. I kind of want to just have our own thoughts. I don't want to take inspiration from others.
That is also true, yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. All right, guys, we've been here for an hour and 24 minutes. I think it's time to get out of here because we have classes starting outside in just a few minutes. So, time to say goodbye. This has been a fun one. I think overall,
fun.
It's been a stifle one. Overall, obviously, I think no, they cannot justify the majority of changes to the law within the Rings of Power. That's the way we've gone with it. We've delved into your comments and hopefully, concluded in the right way. Hopefully, no one's arguing with us too much.
Yeah, it does feel like we're all kind of on the same page.
I think so. I mean, Matthew said, "Love your unbiased opinions." Thank you very much. We're trying our best to just be as honest as
Yes.
possible.
And also accept that opinions can change over time with
I
more
always have. We
information.
started off more
Mm.
positive, and
Yeah.
it's just gone downhill from there.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, Daniel. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for everyone who has watched 1 minute or 1 hour of this.
Yes, thank you for your interaction. It makes doing this stuff super fun. We love interacting with the community. It's the best part of doing this.
Yes, and if you really do want to help us out, if you've had thoughts and stuff, leave it as a comment in the video once this is finished as well, because that does massively help us out with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. That is just a pain.
Yeah. Guys, thank you all again for your comments, your views, and your super chats. We really appreciate it. And I guess we will see you next time on The Broken Sword.
Bye, guys.